Here are a few blades from William Nease. The knives on the bottom are actually two folders from Spyderco. This is Chicago and the Pingo. The one I'm going to be using in this short video is the Solid. It's a massive blade. That's it compared to a Spartan from Mike Gavco on YouTube. I'm going to start off cutting some very light scrap. I'm mainly just getting a feel for how this blade performs at this stage, working with essentially how to hold on to the knife and the kind of swing that actually works best for it. You're mainly looking at, in use, two generally different types of swings. One is a very sort of fast snap type swing where you rotate the blade around and the impact energy comes from the snap or rotation of the blade. The other one is a slower, more push type cut where the blade mainly is moving up or down and it's not snapping around very much. With longer blades that are lighter and basically the balance is closer towards the hand, you can snap them around very fast, and this fast snap brings a lot of energy into the cut. But with a blade like this weighs just under 2 kilograms. It's not the easiest thing in the world to snap around, and that quick snap not only generates a relatively high fatigue, but it can have issues with control. The first time that I used it, I was trying to do it at very fast snap cuts, just trying to see what it was like. The rate of fatigue is actually relatively high. Again, just because of the sheer mass of the blade, it weighs about 2 kilograms, and it's rather blade heavy. It's not neutral in balance. So those kind of very fast snap cuts, they're not overly productive. And I switched then to what I'm doing here, which is a slower, more basically direct up and down push type chop. And it's a technique that I noticed when I was in India, when I was watching people that were using very, very big, heavy cleavers for long periods of time. And by long periods of time, I mean hours. They would sit down and work on fish and other types of cutting. Now, they weren't continuously chopping every couple of seconds, but they were able to do significant amounts of work over long periods of time by doing that slower, more inertial-based chop. And that's what I'm experiencing and what I'm trying to use a bit here, and I'm finding it works relatively well for this knife. This has a relatively interesting handle. It's kind of gigantic in both width and thickness, but it's triangular. It's much wider at the top. Initially I thought I was going to have some issues with rolling just because of the sheer massive size of the handle, but it hasn't turned out to be an issue. Like most of the wood I'm cutting up, this piece of strapping is really well seasoned. It's been out for basically most of the winter and it's relatively hard, but a piece of strapping is way too small to slow this knife down. And I'm not even bringing into, I don't think, 50% of the impact energy this knife can bring into cuts, because I'm still not 100% comfortable with control, and I'm still playing around with impact points. You'll see I'm cutting quite out close to the tip, and I'm losing a lot of energy in those kind of cuts because the blade is sort of at a leverage disadvantage. It can back rotate into cuts relatively easy. You're basically like on the end of sort of a seesaw at this point, pushing towards someone who's relatively close to the middle when you chop towards the tip of blades. And that's a 2x2 that it shears through with no issue. So this is going to be an interesting blade to work with for sure.